Welcome to the Needy and Normal podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After hours of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear: meeting your needs is essential for a better life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy. Picture this. You're on the coast of Maine. The water is beautiful. It's a sunny day. And you're seeing the most iconic red and white, mostly white, lighthouse you've ever seen. It's poetic. It's beautiful. It is a sight to see. And then you turn around, and over your shoulder in the grassy walkway are two absolutely stunning Bernese Mountain Dogs. That was almost 12 years ago, and I will never forget it. I will never forget looking at the most majestic thing on the coast of Maine and being absolutely mesmerized and captivated and distracted by dogs. Welcome to Needy and Normal. I'm going to talk about dogs today, particularly my dog journey with getting Roy, the Bernese Mountain Dog, our third child. Now, there's more to this story than just choosing to get a dog, talking about getting a dog, what it's going to look like and feel like, are you ready for a dog, all the things, right? There's more to this story, right? Because if you haven't been following along, my life is super unique. My husband works basically 275 days of the year, right? So that leaves less than 100 days scattered throughout where we actually get to hang out as a family. And even then, there's travel days, right? So we are unique. And choosing to get a dog after losing our dog in 2020 was a big decision because it means more. It means more to the plate, more to logistics, more to think about, more for me. When we first started talking about this, it was a dream. Honestly, it was a dream. I have been thinking about having a Bernese Mountain Dog in my life ever since I saw those two walking behind us in Maine. I have not been able to shake it from my mind. My heart, my eyes seek out that breed. There's something about the breed that I'm captivated by, and I'm a dog person. I grew up with dogs. I was born into the world having a dog in my family. We grew up with labs. My very first dog was a lab named Sunny, and he was a baby when my sister was a baby. So he was 3 when I was born, and not long after, when I was about 6 or 7, we got another lab. Her name was Lena. And so we had Sunny and Lena. They were the little dynamic duo. Truly, I had dogs in my life always. I went off to college and didn't have a dog, obviously. My senior year of college, I got Katie the Puggle. I think part of me felt really excited about getting a dog as a college senior, and the other part of me thought, what the hell am I doing getting a dog as a college senior? And it was kind of crazy, but she was great. Oh, she was so fun. She went with me everywhere. And Jeff and I started dating when I was a freshman in college. So by the time I was a senior, we'd been together a while, and he'd never really had a dog. He had a cat growing up. I think her name was Molly, right, babe? And that was it. So Katie was his first dog. Katie, C-A-D-Y, short for cadence, spelled C-A-D-A-N-C-E, because cadence like rhythm, but I was a dancer, so I was young, okay? But I loved her name, and I loved her, and it was great. And she passed away in 2020, and most people in 2020 were buying dogs, were getting puppies. Remember that phase? And we lost our dog. So July of 2020, Katie turned 13, and only days, I think it was just a few days later, she passed away. And oh, it sucked. Oh, it sucked. It's so hard losing a dog. I know that's part of it. But it took a couple of years, and then I started really thinking about getting another dog. And I tried to convince myself, truly, I tried to convince myself of other breeds, and I could not do it because this memory had stayed with me. And not long after we had moved to Wisconsin, Brock maybe had just started walking, and we met up with some friends. I had one friend that I knew moving here who I went to college with, and she moved back home here to Wisconsin, and she loves Bernese Mountain Dogs and had a Bernese Mountain Dog. So, like I said, not long after Brock had started walking, we went over to their house just to, hey, like hang out, and got to meet their dog. And I remember seeing him and thinking, oh my gosh, I love him. I want one. So that was years ago too. So it had stayed with me for so long. So when we finally started talking about it, it was a dream. It still wasn't real. It was like, hey, what if we got another dog? What if it was this dog? What if it was that dog? And I didn't remember the other breeds we looked at because I was so hell-bent on getting a Bernese Mountain Dog. And for us, this journey wasn't just about, let's add to our family. It was nerve-wracking to think after every baseball season, football season, basketball season, because if you've been following along, you know my husband is the Brewers baseball announcer, play-by-play announcer, and he does every single game, goes everywhere the team goes. He's a busy dude. And then he blends that at the end of the baseball season with college football, and then he goes right into college basketball. And then we start over again with baseball. So whenever there's baseball families, typically there's an off season. We don't have that. So it just keeps going. And I do a lot of things on my own, and that's what I signed up for, and that's what this life is about. And I'm always trying to figure out how to do it better and working through logistics and making things easier that, sometimes end up being harder. And adding a dog to the mix was a lot to think about. It wasn't a small decision. It's never a small decision for any family, but for our family, it was especially a lot to think about. And I think for my husband, he would tell you his big concern was, I have a lot on my plate. I have a business, I have the kids, I have the house, I have just running our life. And we don't have family here. And so it's all about asking for help and getting what we need and less traditional ways than if you had family nearby. And it's a lot. A lot is on me. And granted, I'm very independent. I'm very tough, but going through multiple transitions all throughout the year and doing a lot on my own is a lot anyways. And I think my husband, out of respect for me, was concerned. Like, whoa, do you really want to add to your plate? We had chosen, full disclosure, that more children after 2 was not for us. We maybe would have tried for a third if we had family nearby and I felt like I had more consistent support. I don't know, but we didn't choose that. We didn't choose that for ourselves. And so honestly, for us, adding a dog is like adding another child, another family member. That's just, just how it goes. So it was a lot. He was worried and he was reluctant at first. And at first I thought, like, come on, I did the pushy wife thing. But I saw it from his view and I understood he was being legitimately concerned because it is a lot on my shoulders. And had we gotten a dog sooner than we did, I think it actually would have been too much. So timing for most families matters. Timing for our family really mattered. And so when I really first took the initiative to do the research, find a breeder, and really get into this, I was still over a year away. When we really decided this was going to be more realistic, we were about 2 years away. So overall, this was a very long process. There were several reasons why I was pushing to have a dog. One being that I was used to having a dog and I just missed having a dog around. 2, because I felt it would be a really cool experience for the kids to have a canine companion and help. Every parent's dream is, oh, my kids will help. And in my case, they didn't have a choice. I need help around this house. The other thing is, I'll be honest, like I wanted a friend. I wanted a buddy. I wanted a companion. I needed that. I wanted to have a canine buddy who would always be happy to see me and someone I could take care of and be active with and be outside with. And I saw all the benefits in my mind's eye. And I also had to accept that this was going to be 95% my responsibility. I had to accept that the challenges were going to arise, and they did, especially as a puppy, and I'll get into that. But this was more for me than just we need a family pet. This dude, this dog that we were going to get was going to mean a lot to me, and I knew that. I wanted to be in the kitchen washing dishes and look down and see a dog staring at me with those I love you eyes. Like I just wanted that. I'm being honest here, right? So it was companionship for me, some responsibility and companionship for the kids. And also just nice to have a dog around because I'm a dog person. It was weird. It was weird to not have a dog for so many years. And it just felt like time. So the process was a lot in itself. Just doing the research, talking to my friend who had this beautiful Bernese Mountain Dog who connected me to a breeder. That breeder wasn't breeding. She connected me to a different breeder. So, I really started the conversations, at least a year ago. And I did a ton of research to understand the breed. I watched a gazillion videos on Instagram. I got myself excited about it for sure. So finding Roy the Bernese Mountain Dog, our little dude, not so little dude, was quite the process. The first breeder I had contacted was not the right breeder. Without getting into too many details, it just ended up being a bit of a messy situation where I had paid a deposit and I wanted my deposit back because it was just not the right choice based on the research I did and the comments and the reviews I saw, and I just felt wrong about it. I was trying to trust my intuition on that one and reconnected with my friend who had the Bernese Mountain Dog, and I said, remind me who your breeder is, because I remember the first time I contacted her, she wasn't breeding anymore. But that didn't mean I couldn't get recommendations from her, right? So I got some recommendations from her, and I connected with her top choice, who happened to have a mama Berner pregnant right when I was hopeful to start the process. Timing was really important for us in this case because I wanted to be sure that we got through winter and going to spring training as a family in Phoenix. That was something I knew we would do for at least like a 10-day trip, and then added an extra week there of the actual spring break that my kids were out of school to go visit my mom in California. And so we were gone for about 2 weeks, and that was not going to be the time. So I was hopeful that we would be able to get a dog at the very beginning of April, which also coincided and was the same timing as baseball season beginning. I knew that would be interesting. I did. But I also wanted to make sure that I had time where the kids were in school for a little bit longer so I could get the dog, I almost said the kid, I could get the dog acclimated. And it was just so amazing how it worked out that I found this breeder I felt really comfortable with, who had really wonderful feedback from other people. And there was another breeder, reputable breeder, who said, yes, she's your girl. And the mama dog happened to be an award-winning show dog, and just this was her first litter, and it just all kind of worked out. So I was able to come home with the kids from Phoenix before baseball season really started and go pick our Berner puppy up. And he would have been 8 weeks if we got him when we were allowed to, but we ended up getting him a week later. But there was so much research, so much patience, so much buildup and excitement. I mean, at Christmas time, before we had even 100% figured everything out, we had told the kids we were getting a dog. And the convincing for my husband came when I told him, listen, I know what this means to get an animal, to get a dog. I know this means it's on me mostly, and I'm okay with that. And I really had to convince him, knowing good and well that when my husband was home, much like he's a super engaging dad, he's all about doing all that he can when he's home. He, besides doing all the things for the kids, taking them to school and hanging out with them, playing with them, taking to their activities whenever possible, he also, he does the dishes, he takes out the trash, he folds laundry. I knew he would be helpful with the dog. And all I really could ask for was, I hope he loves the dog, and I hope that he's cool with getting up with him and taking him out and whatever. So I was just hopeful of that. Knowing good and well, I would just be on board. One of my best friends and I went and picked him up first week of April. I was so grateful to not have to do that trip alone. I had to drive 6 hours to St. Louis. The dog and their family is from Kansas City, but they were showing lots of his cousins and uncles and friends at this dog show in St. Louis. I was able to go get him, and it was an early morning. And go on my Instagram, you can see the video of meeting Roy. And at the time, we didn't know that was his name quite yet, but pretty much we knew. We've wanted to name him Roy for a long time. So bringing him home, sure enough, the transition was... It was a lot. I'm not going to lie. It was new, but also we felt so ready for him. I had been preparing for him. We'd prepared our family with this countdown to the dog since December. It was great. We were ready for him. And we've been so fortunate, even though I went through this 2 or 3 week transition period where Jeff was traveling and I was on my own a lot with the dog as a puppy, potty training and all the things, right? It was a lot. I was exhausted. I was frustrated at times. I was trying to manage all the things and adjust and transition, and that's what happens. But the thing, as a transition coach, right, I knew what I was going through. So it was helpful to know that. It was helpful to totally understand what I was processing through, knowing that there was going to be an end to this part of this chapter and that things would start to become smoother. And I was right. Of course, right? You get through the puppy phase, the newborn phase, and things start to feel normal. But what was so beautiful was that Roy really melted right into our family almost instantly. The kids loved him. Everything was just, even when it was hard, even when it was awkward and we were struggling with the sleeping through the night and figuring out his routine and all that, even when it was, we just were so happy he was there. I had prepared myself and the family so much to welcome this new dude that we were just really ready for him. And one thing that surprised me, but also didn't surprise me because I know my husband, is that he absolutely fell in love with this dog. And I gotta say, I really think we struck gold. He is such a sweet, sweet dog. So sweet. And when, I don't know, call it like an act of God or just the universe finally gifting me, because we've faced so many challenges because of our interesting lifestyle and trying to manage things while having some form of normalcy and parenting and seeing our families. And it's hard to navigate sometimes. And this could have been so much harder, bringing Roy into the family. And it's been great. It's been great. I'm so grateful. And now I do the dishes and I look down and I see my dude, and he's so sweet, and I'm his person. And that was the plan all along. He's really obsessed with the kids, and he really, really loves Jeff. And I love that, but I'm definitely his person, and that's what I wanted, because when Jeff's on the road and the kids are at school, I got a buddy, I got a friend, and companionship is really important to me, and he brings me so much joy. He's such a happy, sweet dog, and I could be in the worst mood. I could have had something not go well 5 seconds before, and I will look at him, and he will just come over to me and ask me for some love and wag his tail, and it just lifts my spirits straight up. And that matters. And so when it comes to what I needed from this experience, it's not that I needed another challenge and another kid and another thing on my plate. It was, I needed this piece of joy, this added piece of joy in my life. And when you're a dog person, you're a dog person, and it feels weird to not have a dog. Let's be honest. I was offering to babysit people's dogs. I was hanging out with all the dogs I met out and about. Like I needed it. I needed a dog of my own, and it wasn't just needing a canine companion, right, that I get to take for walks and hang out with. And I work from home, right? Like I've sat and done several of these podcast episodes with Roy under my feet, and he's my buddy. And I love him, and I needed him. And every time I see him, even when I put him to bed at night, I always tell him, I love you. I love that you're here. Like, we know that dogs can't exactly translate all of our words, right? But they know our love just by how we talk to them and how we pay attention to them. And the other weird thing that I didn't expect, and I'll end it here, is that you're taught, if you really do your research, you're taught with any dog mostly, but especially with Bernese Mountain Dogs, because they just are generally a gentle giant, very sweet dogs. You're supposed to teach them all the things they need to know through positive reinforcements. And if they do something bad or something negative, you're not supposed to be harsh and mean and say no. No happens, believe me, because he literally destroys our bushes. But he is learning what I don't like and what I do like through praise. And it's taught me, this is the weird part, it's taught me about parenting. While I'm training this brand new family member to be in our family and live with us, I'm thinking, man, positive stuff really works well with a dog. I should try that with the kids. And it works. So I'm learning a lot. And so needing, feeling the need to have a dog around the house, there were several layers to that. It helped lift my spirits. It helped give me that connection to nature and to be outside more. And I'm just really happy that I got to make a dream of mine come true with the support of my family. Having Roy around has been such a joy. And it is how you look at it, right? Adding something to your plate can feel like a lot. And I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as a privilege and an honor to be his dog mama. And he is such a good boy. And so thank you for letting me rant about this pup. I know it's a little different of an episode than I have typically done, but if you feel like there's something in your life, let this be your lesson, right? If there's something in your life that you want so bad, so bad that you can't stop thinking about it, and you just know in your core that it will bring you joy and it will feed your soul, it can become a need. And this is a myth we tell ourselves, that if we want something so bad, we don't need it, we just want it. And then we talk ourselves out of it. Well, for me, I wanted this dog so bad, it became something I needed. I needed to do this for me, for my life, for my family. It felt so necessary. It felt like it had to happen. And I was right. I led myself right through this path, this intuitive path of knowing I just have to do this. And nobody could have steered me away from this. I'm not even kidding. I was so determined. So if you take something away from this episode today, take this. If you want it that badly, if it speaks to you that loudly, if your heart seeks it. It's okay if that turns into something you need to do because it matters to you. And remember, your needs matter because you matter. And the things that are important to you matter. So if there's something nagging at you, like for me, really needing this dog, if there's something like that in your life, just go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. You can do it. And if you need some support and encouragement, I'm always here. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Needy and Normal podcast. If you liked this episode, share it generously. I would so appreciate it if you would take a quick moment to leave me a review and click that subscribe button so you won't miss an episode. For information about coaching together, visit ablifecoaching.com.